snow.
Okay, so we started. We started. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to have Dr. McCrummen here. She's been at BCPE since 2021. She started
Mhm.
as a speech pathologist and now she's the principal of our flagship, which is right here in the South Bronx. So Dr. McCrummen, we're so happy to have you here.
Thanks for
Everyone
having me.
loves you. We're so excited you can make it out here because we know you're so busy.
I'm happy to be here, honored to talk about Bria, excited to talk about Bria
Yeah.
to anyone who has questions.
So tell me, like, so how did you end up at Bria?
This is my, what, 36th year
Wow.
in education. And so, I am a speech pathologist by training, but I'm also certified for general ed, special ed, and as an administrator. And so my husband was transferred to New York City
Mm-hmm.
back in 2021. And we decided that we didn't want to do the commuter thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're empty nesters now, but still did not want to do the commuter thing.
Yeah.
And so I started looking. And after 33 years, wanted to work someplace that maybe incorporated a faith component to it, and started looking at charters
Oh, wow.
instead of just the DOE, because I had done 33 years in public education. And so watched a couple of different videos, went to a couple of different workshops, and then watched the Bria YouTube video
Oh, yeah. I
and
love
was
that YouTube
like,
video.
that's where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so got online and applied, and I met with Ruby.
Yes, who we're
And
having at our next podcast, by the
and
way.
so we started talking. We hit it off. I think I was asking her more questions than she was asking me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was interviewing for a special ed position, a learning specialist. And all of a
Wow.
sudden she said, wait a minute, hold on. And she put the Zoom on a blank, and then I was like, oh no, she hated me. And came back and said, we are going to do our first ever speech language pathologist. Would you be interested? Yes.
Yes, I
And
remember
my
you.
first year I did BCPE, BCPM. I floated between the two,
Yeah.
and I'm still here. And it's been everything I could have ever imagined for a position and roles and people to work with and scholars to serve at this part of my career.
Yeah, I mean, I can, yeah, we're so happy that you've taken this on, and because we love, I mean, we only hear such amazing things, and in that, like, one of the questions that we get a lot is like, how is the academics at Bria? Like, how is it, like, what makes it so special, and what does it look like on a day to day? These are the questions we get on an interview, and I was like, okay, once you get to the next step, you talk to the principal, and they'll tell you how that looks like.
Right. And I think one of the things that attracted me most about Bria was that it wasn't just about the academics.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, the academics are the priority, but because it's based in a classical tradition,
Oh,
you get to bring that truth, beauty, and goodness in everything you do.
yeah.
So, yes, we have literacy. Yes, we have math.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have nonfiction studies.
Mm-hmm.
But within that, we also have character as an academic component.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to look at academics in fine and applied arts curriculum, whether it's PE or martial arts, dance, music, visual arts. And so that classical component
Mm-hmm.
is embedded throughout those academics. And
Mm-hmm.
there are, I said literacy, it could be humanities, it could be,
Mm-hmm.
literacy plus, because it's reading, it's phonics, it's comprehension, it's writing. And in math, it's that application piece, that core math piece, but it's also math stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and you can incorporate, and then we have read aloud,
Oh yeah.
and then a character block. And so the academics compromise or encompass so many different components that we can bring that Bria mission in, where it's educating the whole child intellectually, socially, physically. And so you see that when you're teaching core math.
Mm-hmm.
You can embed character into a read aloud story. You can embed character into the passages you're giving scholars to read. And so while academics are the priority, I
Mm-hmm.
think you can incorporate other things into that. And we talk that academics are that priority because every day we start with asking scholars, what year are you going to college?
Yeah.
Letting them know that academics are important for them as lifelong learners.
Yeah, and each of our classrooms are named after a university or a college,
Absolutely.
which is like an emphasis of just like our mission, high school, college,
Yes.
and beyond,
Yes.
to like what you want to achieve. So, okay, so how do you, the next question I have here is how do you match the curriculum to the individual teacher? Like like the teachers are so unique coming in. So how do you do that?
It's one of those things that in the interview we ask,
Hmm.
what is a preference? What grade level would you like?
Okay.
Just so we have an idea of that.
Hmm.
But they also come in knowing what grade level we have available.
Hmm.
And then we talk to them about experience because some people come in, it's a third grade position, but they've taught kinder or they've taught fourth and fifth. And so after the interview, which is part academic demo, part academic debrief,
Hmm.
and then also part culture interview,
Yeah.
you feel like you really know the candidate.
Wow.
And so matching kind of what they come with, that
Hmm.
experience, their preference, what their personality shows us
Hmm.
with a grade level. And then knowing that you're also thinking about a team of teachers
Hmm.
that they will be interacting with and where do we think that is a good match.
Hmm.
And in the past when we've had two openings,
Hmm.
we've been able to say, you know what, we did interview this particular individual for this grade and this one for this grade, but we think a switch of that would better match not only both candidates,
Hmm.
but the classrooms that they will be serving, the scholars they'll be working with, as well as that team of teachers. And it worked for a really strong dynamic in both grade levels. So having that flexibility, if it depends on what time of the year it is, of
Hmm.
course, but really trying to match what we know we need with what that individual brings.
Yeah, so in that, like talking like these teachers coming in with their personalities and understanding like the curriculum, how have you seen like a teacher come in and sort of with their personalities, like take a curriculum and teach it in a classroom?
Right. And, because we're a charter and we've got this classical tradition,
Mm-hmm.
the curriculum's pretty set
Yeah.
per
Mm-hmm.
grade level. It's pretty set. But where we get to see our
Mm-hmm.
teachers shine,
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie, is when they are able to connect with scholars on that personal level
Mm-hmm.
during instruction.
Yeah.
And so we could take, for example, a math stories lesson where you're applying what you've learned to a story problem and the teacher can bring their personality in to
Mm-hmm.
the story problem. They can bring their personality into the instructional strategies that they're using, as well as, taking a passage.
Yeah.
Teachers can sometimes pick the passages they use. We've got lots of opportunities to do this in Read Aloud. We've
Mm-hmm.
got lots of opportunities to do this in our character block.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely seen in our fine and applied arts,
Yeah.
where their personality as an art teacher, as a music teacher, a dance teacher, a PE teacher really shines through with the kids for their particular spin.
So in that, so knowing like this is like the personality and like understanding it as in the academics and character enrichment, like what do you look for when you're hiring someone in particular? Like what is a characteristic you would say?
Right. So for me, it is critical that they have a passion for teaching,
Mm, yeah,
that they love kids,
yeah.
and that they're clearly committed to the Bria mission. Those are kind of my three key
Like they have a
things.
purpose. Like it's a
It
purpose.
is a purpose.
Yeah.
Education is a calling,
Mm-hmm.
because it is hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And they come with purpose
Mm-hmm.
to make the lives of our scholars richer through the instruction, better
Mm-hmm.
as little people. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, human beings that will contribute back. And so looking for that individual. And I really feel like our interview at Bria aligns to that in
Mhm.
the fact that it's a screening interview first to
Mhm.
see where are we at.
Mhm.
And then it's an academic demo lesson, so we get to see their instructional
Mhm.
expertise. And then we debrief after that, so
Mhm.
they get to talk to us about how they crafted that lesson, what they did with that lesson,
Mhm.
what was meaningful for them in that lesson, and
Mhm.
how they felt about it. Did it go
Interesting.
well? Did it not go well? And then we've got scenarios that we speak to.
Mhm.
And then the final piece is that culture interview.
Yeah.
And that's where you really get to see what's important to them
Yeah.
as individuals and if it's a good fit.
Yeah.
And so really getting to understand kind of that whole person. And so my three characteristics of, do you have a passion for
Mhm.
teaching? Is this your calling?
Mhm.
Do you really love kids?
Mhm.
And are you committed to the BRIA mission? I get to see that in those components of the interview process.
That's awesome. And I know we have some prospective teachers probably watching on LinkedIn Live right now. So in that, one of the things like that you see with these qualities, they have it, but what do you see in a teacher that makes them thrive? Like here you see that they have these three things in the middle of the school year. Like what is it that makes one teacher thrive more than another?
I think it's the teacher who realizes coming in that the work will be hard,
Mm.
but that there's a purpose to it.
Mhm.
I think it's the individual or the teacher that comes in that accepts it's a little bit more
Like
than
the feedback and
yes,
yes.
and that it's more than a 7:15 to 4:15. They're hungry for feedback because they want to become better.
Yeah.
It's the teacher that takes the time to build relationships with their scholars
Mhm.
because that's where you get your bucket filled,
Yeah.
is that interaction and time with kids. It is the teacher who builds relationships with families,
Mhm.
honoring families as our first educators and building those family relationships
Oh, yes.
and getting to kind of expand what they do in the classroom with families. I think the thriving teacher also builds relationships with their peer group, whether that's other classroom teachers on the team, whether that's other classroom teachers in grade levels,
Uh-huh.
and they're constantly wanting to build themselves as a professional, so hone their craft,
Mm-hmm.
because as a constant learner, you make yourself better. And I think as you fill yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
just naturally thrive.
Yeah.
And so I think it is that teacher open to feedback, just jumping all, headfirst into this experience that really thrives and wants to come back year after year after year. And we're happy to provide that coaching, that mentoring. We have all those systems in place, professional development, weekly.
Yeah.
We've got prep periods, we've got the after school time, we've got Friday afternoons
Yeah.
of it, our mission in progress of professional development.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of opportunities to do that at Bria as well.
Yeah. And we all want to be coached by Dr. McCrummen.
I still want to be coached.
No.
36 years in, I am still learning. I still want to be coached.
Yeah. So in that, hold on, let's see. Okay, so this is great. So a large portion of our Fridays is like a cultural event. It's our roosting rallies, and some people would say that instead of having that, we should be doing test prep and spend time like preparing lessons like. But at Bria, we believe this is like the essence of like student learning,
Mm-hmm.
and again, like how you talked about a little bit, like culture is incompatible to like our academics. But again, can you explain that a little bit? Like what happens on this Friday and like
Yeah,
our cultural event?
Fridays are there is curriculum, there are academics, but there are some really joyful times on Fridays. And so you mentioned one of them, Roosting Rally.
Yeah.
It is our opportunity to celebrate each classroom community as a homeroom and
Okay.
as a community. They do their college chant.
Mhm.
And then we pick a spirit stick winner from those grade levels. And we also, and this is where the academics come in as well, we also acknowledge a scholar of the week.
Yeah.
And that is a scholar who may not have excelled in academics,
Yeah.
but has tried and pushed and exceeded their goal in academics. And we celebrate them as a scholar of the week, and their families come in. And that's during the roosting rally, which is very joyful.
Yeah.
We have academic electives on Fridays where teachers teach something they want to teach.
Yeah.
So back to incorporating your personality. Like my Friday elective this year is student council.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm working with our third and fourth graders to establish a small student government student ambassador program. We've got Pilates and yoga. We've got science experiments. We've got all anime, all sorts of really cool academic elective pieces that scholars get to work on. And then we still have a math block and a literacy block that we're working on with kids. And so it's a more relaxed day. They get to wear their homeroom college t-shirt. And in that roosting rally, we spotlight a different college every week. Again, helping them remember that goal. Everybody can go to college, and here's another college that you might want to go to. So it's the academic piece, but in a fun, spirited way.
And does our mascot come to the roosting rally sometime?
Yeah, Carlton absolutely comes. Not every Friday, but he presents the Scholar of the Week.
I know, so he
there's Carlton.
Oh my God. Okay, we have Carlton here. We have Carlton here. We're so happy to have Carlton.
Carlton is the BCPE mascot.
I know. So one of the things we told Carlton and we wanted you to show us is we also talk about our virtues, or like that we emphasize at our roosting rally. So if we want to like do that, that'd be great.
All right, in English and in Espanol.
Okay.
Woo! Here we go. You ready, Carlton? We've got courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. En español, coraje, justicia, sabiduría, autocontrol.
Yes. We're so happy to have you. We know we sold you for a bit, but you can go back to your nest. But we're so thankful to have you.
That's awesome.
Our special guest.
I love a special guest.
Oh my
Carlton
gosh.
means so much to the scholars.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Carlton is on our wall.
Yeah.
Carlton is attending roosting rallies. We talk a lot about how Carlton models our core virtues.
Yeah.
What would Carlton do? Carlton is a name in our math word problem. We use Carlton a lot. And the kids just get so excited when Carlton comes.
We got so excited when he came here. It's like he hardly comes to the network office, but now he's here. We're so happy.
We opened up, we did a really special celebration where we opened up classroom libraries.
Oh, wow.
And Carlton came and did the ribbon cutting in the different classrooms. It was really special.
That sounds very special.
It was very cool.
Well, we have one last question.
Alrighty.
Okay, you are the captain of the ship at BCPE, and in that you have to ensure the non-academics and the academics components. So in that, like, how do you help students walk forward and grow, knowing like that you have to handle all these different components?
I think the thing that I really want scholars to know is that I care about them first as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that means to me is that I'm out there every morning at 7:30, even on these cold mornings, completely bundled up, welcoming them in. And there's a theory out there that 5 positives is a great way to start your day. So we've got anywhere from 5 to 7 staff members
Yeah.
up the stairs and into the hallway, greeting kids all the way up with a good
Wow.
morning, a hug, a high five, a handshake, whatever. So doing those components, I'm at dismissal duty, doing those components, lunch duty, recess duty, because that's where I get to see the behind the scenes operations.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in classrooms on a regular basis. We'll step in to teach if we need to. We'll eat lunch with kids, checking in with teachers. We've got morning meeting 3 mornings a week where that's teacher connection time, stopping by to say hi, inviting people into the office because you've got to see all of the different components of the day to know how best to support not only your staff, but the scholars as well.
Well, thank you, Dr. McCrummen, for coming here and
It was
out of
good
your
to be
busy
here.
day. Yes, and we were so happy. So in that, we're so happy that everyone was able to watch and hear Dr. McCrummen speak. She is a very special person, and we were so excited to have her here. So tune in next time, so you can find out who's next. But in that, thank you for having us.
Thank you.